Alright, I rotated YouTube. What the fuck? No, fucking Jesus Christ, I'm getting legitimately angry. Is this working? Like, is this showing up right or is this showing up sideways? Because this is supposed to be, like, where I want it. No, I'm not gonna rotate it. Fuck you. It's sideways. Fucking Christ. But if I do it like this, it's right side. I don't understand. It literally doesn't have a prompt to do it landscape. If I try and do it landscape, it says rotate your device, and I fucking rotated it like 8 times. Didn't fucking do anything. What a piece of fucking garbage. Jesus Christ, I am like, I'm pretty fucking livid right now. Whew. YouTube needs to get your fucking shit together. Piece of garbage company. Literally a collection of the biggest dipshits who make some of the most anti-intuitive software on the face of the earth. Oh my god. We're like, how can we make the user experience as frustrating as humanly possible? Frustrating as humanly possible. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is, let's see, let's finagle a bit. Because this would be way easier if I could just, you know what? That's good enough. Yeah, I know, Christian. Oh. Ow, that hurt. Do y'all ever sleep too long and then you wake up and everything just hurts? It's like you drink a carbonated beverage and it's just like, ugh, or you move too much and it's just, ugh, and just everything's just, ugh. Okay, now I can't tell. What was I doing? Okay, I was painting their chains, but not their weapons. Right. Okay. It has been a super long time since I painted last. Ugh. Let me grab this. Little paint guide. Hopefully, if I start painting enough, I can get to the point where I won't need this, but... Alright, so... Right, because I'm gonna hit the swords with some different stuff. Yeah. Okay. I was. Any thoughts on my next topic of lore I'll be putting out? Yeah. Next is I'm gonna turn off my headphones for now because I don't want to wear anything on my head. Next up is Carrot 8 Peaks stuff, which I've been working on for what feels like an eternity, but we're actually getting pretty close to D-Day for that, where I've actually been sending parts of it off to the people that I'm working with. Am I finally getting into AOS? Dude, I've been into AOS. I don't have the super hate boner that most people do for it. I think a lot of people hate it for something that's not its fault. But yes, I'm painting some wraiths, or they're called chain gas. They're really, really basic infantry for Nighthawks. All right, how's my stuff looking here? Cool. So we're doing some Agrax Earthshade here to make their chains look a little bit more rusted and ancient and spooky, because right now they're just, I think they're like, I think they're just Leadbelcher right now. It's been a long time since I've painted, so I'm going to try to just get these guys done and not worry too much about being, like, perfect. Because tomorrow I'm going to an Escalation League. And it's the first week. So I have to bring 250 points worth of ghosts. Which I'm definitely not going to have painted in time. Because this is the only unit I've even started. And there's like 20 of these guys. Which, granted, that's like 160 points. But, you know, still. So we're going to do our best to get the hilt and all the little details on the weapon with this nice little rust. So it'll be nice and spooky. We'll make sure we get the manacles on these guys. And we're not going for any specific amount of time. It'll just be until I don't want to go anymore. Or maybe I get tired. I'll try and hold this a little better where you can see it. Oop, oop. There we go. How have all you guys been? I used to have a Canadian guy who I really like to watch his painting streams. I wouldn't be surprised if he still streams, but he stopped playing Warhammer. He was one of those people that kind of lost his shit when Games Workshop killed off Warhammer. Like, he didn't go super crazy, but he like totally abandoned the scene, which I was pretty disappointed by. It's like he didn't even stick around to play Warhammer. He just immediately jumped ship to like Kings of War or whatever that damn game was called. A lot of Warhammer players went and played it instead of AOS. That's where a lot of the old guard went. And Games Workshop could not have cared less. Because those guys did not make enough money to, or buy enough products to justify Games Workshop caring too much about their leaving compared to all the sales they get from releasing brand new races and stuff and things. Now the fantasy models are worth even more because they come out as legacy models. People buy that shit up. Have I signed up for the new league? Not yet. I haven't looked to see if I want to play in it yet. I haven't decided if I want to play in it yet. And I also haven't looked at like if there's any interesting rules. I didn't really like the last one because there was way too many people and it was a fucking mess and I don't want to do that again. So if he's doing it with like another 16 or 20 people, whatever the fuck it was, then I'm out. That was a nightmare to keep up with. It was just way too many people, and Black Iron doesn't enforce the weeks harsh enough for my liking. It kind of just lets people take as long as they want. It should be like a hard cutoff. You either get your games in or you don't. So no, I haven't decided yet. I haven't looked. I told Black I'd look at the email, but I haven't gotten around to it. I've just been really busy the last couple days. I've got some important stuff coming up in the near future, but I can't really go into a lot of details for a while. Hoping some projects will come to fruition finally. I feel like I've been saying that for like the last 8 weeks. Oh, we're talking about Smash. I play Smash by myself. I've never been much of a. My friends play multiplayer, and I'll play with them. But like, I'm not into super competitive play for fighting games. I get too frustrated. I'd rather just play and like enjoy the single player. Because for me, it's more about the characters than the style of game. Like, you could put Ridley as playable in a fucking golf game, and I'd be all over that shit, you know? Or King K. Rool, or Bowser, which, you know, Bowser thankfully is playable in a lot of things these days, so that's not super rare, but... I feel bad for this Nighthaunt. This dude literally got the fucking, like, full gallows treatment. He's got all the... Oop, y'all can't see him. There we go. He's got, like, all the wood in the way instead of just chains. Like, he got super shafted compared to, like, everybody else, which I find... Like, he's got a full ball of chain, and he's got all that wood. Like, dude got fucking... He got the wrong side of that chain. He must have really pissed off Nagash. Somebody asked why I like Nighthaunts. I've always found spirit units to be my favorite part of the Vampire Count roster, which is why Necrarchs are my favorite of the Vampire Bloodlines, because Necrarchs invented the spirit units, like Spirit Hosts and Cairn Wraiths and Banshees. Well, they didn't invent Banshees, but they invented Hex Wraiths, who I love. So... when they came out, when Games Workshop came out, it was like, we're doing an entire race of spooky ghost boys. I was like, sign me the fuck up. I had a ball with that. And I bought a fuckload of models. Like, I don't even want to talk about how many models I have sitting around in this room that are still in their boxes. So I joined this Escalation League that's going to be meeting on Wednesdays. Because I have the models to do it, so it's not going to cost me any money. And I even have all the paint I need. I just need the motivation to do it, because for me it's hard to be motivated to paint if I'm not playing, because like I don't paint as a hobby exclusively. You know, I have to be painting for a reason, like a tournament or a league. If I don't have that, then I don't care. You know, my army could be entirely out of the box, glued together, and to me it's the same as having a full painted army. I don't get that sense of pride and accomplishment, TM, that EA expects people to feel when they just do hard work for no reason. Okay, that guy's good. Want to... Oh, let's do this. Turn you like... Okay, that should be a bit better. Sorry. Hope you're all having a decent day. I had a really kind of meh day. I had to get some bill stuff figured out. Student loans, man, they drive me crazy. I was talking to a company today, and they're like, hey, we've noticed you've been, like, actually kind of, like, your last tax return says you're kind of making okay money. We would like you to pay us $1,000. And it was like, how about you go fuck yourself? Because you're just a bunch of sharks, and I fucking hate you people. Y'all are literally negotiate those rates. So that was a fun way to spend my day. Student loans are the biggest fucking racketeering bullshit in this country. It's so obnoxious. Nothing you can do about it. You don't pay them, they can just sit there. You can't even, like, declare bankruptcy or anything. If you don't pay them long enough, they'll just start garnishing your wages, or they'll just send out a warrant for your arrest, throw your ass in prison, which, for the record, can't do that with any other kind of debt like that. Those guys fucking got their thumbs up the butts of Congress and really did their best to screw over the future generations of this country. Because God forbid you want to get educated, you better be ready to go a couple tens of thousands of dollars in debt. Gotta pay them off ASAP. Dude, I know. I don't even want to know what my credit score is. When I initially left college, I was super depressed for like a good couple months. And so I just didn't even like answer the phone or anything for months. And of course I wasn't paying them the entire time. So like a lot of my stuff built up and I'm still dealing with the ramifications of that. Because they don't fucking care. They're like, whatever, we'll just nick your credit score. And you have to still pay us eventually. Which is the dumb part. Like, I can understand, like, if they nuked your credit score, but we're like, alright, like, we're not going to keep charging you at a certain point until you can clearly get your shit together. But no, they're all too happy to just keep ranking shit up. I did a really bad job with this one. It's okay, though. I'm just trying to get models done. I need to stop being super anal about fixing every little thing. Otherwise, I'm going to be stuck on these 20 models for all of eternity. Chloe's in here. I don't know if y'all can hear her breathing. She likes to breathe out of her mouth when she's, like, annoyed. Because she's, like, ready to go to bed or something. It's not even that late, puppers. It's only, like, 10 o'clock. Oh, no. It's almost 11. But still. It's not that late. Ooh, I did a really bad job on this guy. I might touch him up a little bit. Just because some of the... Well, you know what? No, I'm not. It's not in a super noticeable place. You won't be able to see it from eye level. Yeah, the Mentor King. Well, that's the dumb thing is that... oh, what did I study? Sebastian, I studied music education for 3 years at West Texas A&M University, which is where my heart was. But then I got my anxiety disorder, which made it really, really difficult to sing and play an instrument, and I got really lonely and made a lot of bad decisions. So I ended up leaving and retreating home. And that, you know, I had put in so many hours, so close to graduating is the stupid part. Like, I could have easily just suffered for like another year and been done. But, I mean, the rate I was going, because my problem was after I got my anxiety disorder, I went from being not the best student, but I could at least pass my classes, to just failing constantly. Like, I couldn't pass a class to save my fucking life over the last few years. Like, every once in a while, I would get into a class that, like, really had a good groove for me, and I liked the teacher and the subject and whatever, and I'd make, like, straight A's. But then the rest of my classes, inevitably, I would end up having some kind of anxiety moment, and then I'd freak out, and then I'd leave the class, and then I'd assume, like, people noticed me, or, like, were paying attention to me, even though they probably didn't give a shit. And so I, like, wouldn't go back, because I was embarrassed, and I was anxious. So I just wouldn't go back, ever. Which, spoiler, if you don't go to class in college, not only will you fail, but you also won't have any friends. Because that's, like, the only way to make friends, is to show up to things. And I didn't show up to anything. I would just hide in my room and wallow in anxiety. But anyway, yeah, I studied music education for 3 years. And then I studied child development at Texas Christian University for 2 years. And then I studied video game design at NCTC for a year. And now I'm in a Google program that lets me work at my own pace, and I just, like, pay them $50 every month. They're like, you can take as long as you want. You know, you'll just have to keep paying us until you're done. And I really fucking like that program. Because there's not, like, strict deadlines. It's just, like, you just do it as you can do it. You just have to finish it all. Which I really like. Did I get free from Father Nurgle? Yeah, I'm feeling much better. I still have, like, I'm still having moments of, like, my body being like, ugh, as it's recovering. You know, like, I'll be talking and I'll just feel like this super obnoxious glob of just gross between like my nose and my mouth, but like inside. So you're like blowing your nose trying to get it out, or hawking loogies trying to get it out, and it's like super stubborn. It's just a bitch, and everything about it sucks until you get it out. Oh, Sebastian, yeah, my anxiety definitely. Oh, I already painted this dude. Yep, my anxiety has definitely, unfortunately, defined a lot of my life, which I hate so much. My biggest regret in life was when I first got my anxiety disorder, was that I did not like go straight to a hospital, because that's what I should have done. Am I supposed to put Nolan oil on this, or Acress Earthshade? Pretty sure it's Nolan oil. Oh wait, he says as he's about to apply Acress Earthshade. Here, I'll check it in a second. First, let's Earthshade up these chains. Anyway, yeah, like I was saying, my biggest regret in life is that when my anxiety disorder started, I didn't like get sent to a hospital. I just like tried to tough it out. The only reason I tried to tough it out is because I come from a family that's not super wealthy, and healthcare in this country is super expensive. I couldn't afford to go to a hospital, even though my body was like revolting against me, and it was convinced it was dying, and I was scared to go to sleep. I was scared to eat. Like, that was a huge wake-up call for me, as far as like how fucked up this country is sometimes. Was like how hard I got thrown under the bus by my own parents. Not out of like malice. They were just ignorant of the care I needed, but they were very acutely aware that they could not afford the care I needed. So instead of getting immediately into a hospital getting treated, I instead got to develop a disorder that became so ingrained, and it went untreated for about 3 months. And now it will never go away. Alright, Nighthaunt. Where is it? Nighthaunt paint. There it is. I just want to see the color he uses. The stupid candlestick. Alright, okay, he uses gold. Then he Earthshade on everything? Okay, yeah, he just fucking slathers all that shit in Earthshade. Yeah, I'm working on Nighthaunts. Yeah. They're my Age of Sigmar army. I mean, I still play Loserman, aka Seraphon, but Nighthaunts are the army I'm collecting right now. GMK, it's alright, man. You don't need to be sorry. I mean, could have been worse, I'll put it that way. I mean, I was always kind of an anxious person, but I was lucky enough to grow up without an anxiety disorder. That was something that entered my life in college, which was super weird and, very disorienting. But, I mean, I've met people who apparently have just always been that way. Like, they don't know what normal is. I know what normal is, if I take a certain kind of drug that, you don't want to take too much because you can get dependent on it. So I use it very rarely. But, there are drugs you can take that'll make me feel normal. And there are lifestyle changes I could make if I wasn't such a lazy piece of garbage. that would also make it a lot easier. You know, if I worked out every single day for at least an hour and I ate a lot better than I do and I stopped drinking caffeine, then I'd probably feel a lot better. Not that I feel terrible. I don't want to get. I realize I'm kind of in a woe is me. I'm on a woe is me note right now, but please note that I'm not like super uncomfortable or anything. I'm just. It is. I don't know why it just came up, but I'm like not. I'm not suffering or anything right now. Please don't get that impression. It's just something I like to talk about when I can because I know when I was having anxiety, it was really helpful for me to hear like creators and stuff that I like talk about it. So I want to talk about it. Because it's not weird to have mental illness. If anything, it's actually kind of the norm. It's really common. But a lot of people are scared to talk about it because they're like, oh, it makes me a freak. And it's like, nah, it makes you pretty normal. A lot of people are scared of things and have depression and anxiety, and anger issues are another big one. That's one a lot of people don't talk about in today's day and age. That's one I worry about. Like, you meet people who have really bad issues because they're like afraid or angry at certain people. Like, they're like, oh, like they have a really bad history with women, and so like they're really angry at women, but they're not allowed to talk about it because it makes them the bad guy, and so they just like hold on to it until some stupid shit happens. It's like, ugh, I really wish people were allowed to talk more and were judged less. Those keys came out a little green, weirdly. It's okay though. That's okay though. These guys are super not important. They are literally the how would I recommend the use of allies in Age of Sigmar? Dude, Joe, I'm gonna be honest with you. I am just now getting back. Oops, I haven't finished that yet. I'm just now getting back in Age of Sigmar, but I haven't played since the newest edition started, second edition, which was a while ago. So like I haven't played this year, and I barely played last year. Like I've been following the lore really heavily and really enjoying it, but I don't get that many games in because I didn't have a good store to go to. But I'm going to be going to the Citadel for the Escalation League, which is super awesome. And if any of you live in DFW, you can actually go there and meet me if you want, or play me. But they're doing Escalation Week or League for Age of Sigmar on Wednesdays. I'll be there for that good shit. Just, you know, if you are going to come meet me, please don't, like, shoot me. I don't want to be one of those YouTubers that was at a fan meet and greet, some random person shows up and shoots them. Please don't do that. I'd be happy to talk to you. Oh no! I'm literally a meme. I just pulled a meme. I just spilled my Agrax Earthshade. No, I'm a meme. It's a really popular meme, is that sooner or later it happens. Oh, that's very upsetting. That's very expensive paint. Oh, about a third of the screen is covered by something. Thank you for letting me know. I'll fix that. There you go. Well, that fucking sucks. There's like $8 down the drain. That's okay though. Life goes on. I'm not going to clean it up just yet. I'm going to use it. I don't want to waste it by just mopping it up. Thankfully, this is a very shitty table, so I don't need to worry about it like staining or anything, because nobody cares. It's like the worst card folding table in existence. Super low quality. Fortunately, though, I think that's all I need of it. no, it's getting on these guys' bases. Oh dear. Oh dear. Oh dear. Oh. Hold on. I can't believe I spilled fucking Agrax Earthshade. Not as bad as spilling Nuln Oil, because at least Agrax Earthshade you can find at stores. Nuln Oil, if you spill that shit, you are gonna fucking hate yourself, because you can't even find Nuln Oil at most stores. It's like so commonly required. Oh man. Really? How did it get all the way up there? Fuck. Sebastian, I don't have any links for it. It's on their Facebook group. It's on the Facebook group for the Warhammer Citadel. It's that new superstore they opened in Grapevine. I don't have a trash can. Ooh, that smells like ink. But yeah, the first league, or first week of the Escalation League for AOS starts this week on tomorrow. And it's 250 points, to my understanding. I hate this. I hate this so much. Please. This has just been my day in a nutshell. This table's like super fucking flimsy, so I don't want to put too much pressure on it because it'll break. Alright. What is the best mount in Warhammer Fantasy? What do you mean best of what? Because that's kind of an objective term. I mean, I think the best mount as far as like my favorite mount is probably the Carnosaur. Engine of the Gods is pretty spectacular. Hey, Mr. Happy Boom, thanks for the donation, brother. Let's cover the $8 paint spent. Oh, thanks, man. Hyped for Vermintide 2 Winds of Magic? I am. I need to play the event they have going on right now, the anniversary event, because I've heard it's really fun. And I totally have missed out on it so far. Alright, so we finished that part. So now I'm going to work on... What do I have left on these spooky boys? I still need to paint their weapons. And I think that's it. Yeah, I think all that's left for these guys is their weapons. And then some of them have, like, tombstones and wood. I still have to do that. But yeah, let's do weapons. So for the weapon, we're going to do Warplock Bronze. Okay. Oops, sorry, guys. There you go. I'm just a messy person today. Where is Warplock Bronze? Gold, have it on black. Black, Doombolt, Dryad Bark. I think I have it. Hachette Copper. I think I need that later. Oh, I know it's around here somewhere. Xandri Dust. Lamian Medium. Screaming Skull. Ironarch Skin. That was another hard one to find. Old Gray. Corn Red. Random Cookie. Oh, he goes over that with nickel oxide. Weird. Oh, so that's what I have to do next. Nickel oxide. What the fuck is that? Nope, that's Warpstone Glow. Druchii Violet. Thousand Suns Blue. Here it is. Awesome. So this, I'm going to go over all the little metal bits. Shaded with Raising Canes? The fuck? Is that a color? To me, that's just a restaurant. Oh, here's Warplock Bronze. Awesome. So we have that for later. But we're not doing that just yet. We're doing Nitrous Oxide, which is a technical paint. I think we just kind of lightly get on there. Let's see what this dude has to say. Hold on. Watch, this is gonna get my stream flagged for copyright, whatever.
It'll give it a nice ancient feel. Now you can apply it all over, or you can just keep it in the recesses. But you need to do this on all 10 as well. But now I'm going to start applying Nightlock Oxide to all the brass details to give it a nice ancient feel. Now you can apply it all over, or you can just keep it in the recesses. But you need to do this on all 10 as well.
Oh, okay. He only applies it to the brass, though. Okay. Okay. Oh, who's the best mount overall in the series? Ooh. I mean, I have a really big soft spot for Grimlock. But, like, the strongest mount would probably be... probably Baldros. Baldros is a immortal Chaos Dragon who, like, can't die. Like, you can hurt him, but you can't kill him. And he is the mount of, he's the mount of Egrim von Horseman. He's probably the most powerful mount I can think of. But he's pretty, like, you wouldn't expect to see him a lot of places. Nope, that's a little too much. This will give it a look like it's got... Okay, let's see. Yeah, let's get a good... Let's get a good amount on there. There we go. I'm going to focus it on the recesses. Definitely give it like an old, creepy old feel. We're only going to use this on the brass. Oh, that actually looks pretty cool. Kind of gives it like a... I don't think rust is the right word, but it gives it like a very ancient, foreboding feel. I don't know if y'all can see that. Probably not. The camera's not exactly... Oh yeah, no. I'd have to get it like right there, but the light doesn't show up well. But I like the way that looks. Alright, and then... get something down along the bottom. Mr. Candelabra Bearer here. Everybody knows that the ghost who wields the light source is the scariest one. He's the one with all the power. Yes, flat, it's Isabella. Do any Chaos factions live on the South Pole? Yeah, not like any great... I mean, there are a lot of demons that live on the South Pole. In the Archaon books, which get a little hairy lore-wise, because they kind of do some wild shit. But when he went to the South Pole, which he does do in his original epics, I'll say that this part of his epic is well supported by the original stories, but when he goes to the South Pole, he finds what Archaon dubs Demonkin, which are like ancient primordial beastmen that mated with demons and produce like these horrific, freakish half-breeds. And they, but yeah, you can find a ton of demons at the South Pole, though. Like, you'll find, like, it has its own chaos waste, essentially. The only reason the world doesn't get invaded from the south is because there's not enough land, and, the Spawn do a really good job of making it really difficult for demons to manifest without people, like, overtly summoning them. And from the South Pole guys, like, nobody even knows they're there, for the most part, so nobody really has the ability to summon them. So they're just kind of left out of things. But you can go through the Polar Gate if you're really desperate to reach the different poles, but, you know, not highly recommended. It's very dangerous. Okay, Hugh. Well, happy late birthday, man. Hope you're doing well. Yeah, I'm feeling much better. Thank you. Have I seen the Warcry trailer that's just come out? I don't even think I know what Warcry is. What is Warcry? Okay, so what's next for this dude? Lamenter's Yellow.
It's my palette like so. Now this is not a wash, this is a glaze, so we're not trying to just go into the recesses. We're going to actually lay it over all those flames like so. And what that will do is I'll just slightly change the hue to more of a yellow spectrum.
Okay.
Do that on all the flames on this figure.
Okay. If I could get this figure over with, I'd be so happy. Lamenter's Yellow. If the Lizardmen did not fly away, do you think Archaon could have been defeated? Probably not. The Lizardmen left because... You have to remember that Archaon didn't win due to some, like, moment of brilliance. Archaon won due to literal plot armor, essentially. You know, Archaon lost, technically. The only reason he succeeded was because of Manfred, but the forces of Order, Death, and Destruction did manage to beat him. I don't really think the Lizardmen would have changed the outcome of things, especially because I don't think the Lizardmen would have had the easiest time convincing the other factions to work with them super well, because the Lizardmen have a very narrow view of, like, what's okay and what's not okay, and there's, like, no way in hell they would have worked with... Lizardmen are not a for the greater good kind of faction, you know, they're not a race that's willing to allow, like, temporary alliances. I'll use a bigger brush for this. Whatever. But no, I don't think the Lizardmen... If they would have had to abandon Lustria way before they did, to, I think, been able to help, because, like, their military was so screwed. Because you have to remember, in the ships, they didn't take a bunch of people with them. The Slann pretty much only took what was absolutely necessary. They didn't take, like, a bunch of giant armies that they loaded up carefully and all this other stuff. It was literally like Mazda Mundi did execute Order 66, and like all of the Slann who were available, who did not stay behind to help with the moon, they all loaded up and got the fuck out of Dodge with like a bunch of really special skink spawnings, who were like specially designed to like drive the spaceships. So I don't think the Lizardmen would have been able to like turn the tide or anything like that. As much as I think they should have, as much as I think every race should have participated in the final battle for the Warhammer world, I always found it really dumb that some races got to have a really big narrative in like, you know, like the Empire and stuff. And then you had some like Bretonnia, the Lizardmen, the Ogres, just almost totally left out of the final battle. It was really disrespectful to those communities. You know, like the Lizardmen, we showed up for like half of a single book, and that was it. Like we were done, which is still more than the Ogres and the Greenskins got. That's the sad part. Like the Greenskins even are like one of the main races of Warhammer in Games Workshop. Even now, like even in Age of Sigmar, their Greenskins are still a big deal, and Games Workshop totally threw them under the bus. Just didn't want anything to do with them. Alright, this should be good. Hey, SoTech, it's Swissbank. When do I think they're going to put out the trailer for the Lord Pack? Hopefully soon. I'm still going with my prediction of an early April, late March release. So hopefully, if not this week, then the week after. But we'll see. It depends on factors that I'm sure I can't even imagine with my tiny brain.
And there we are, with the flames now done. We're going to move on to the next detail, which is to paint all the stone detail on the bases, whether that's rocks or gravestones. And for this, we're using Mechanicus.
Oh, okay, so this part's done. Awesome. Oops. Oh, I don't want to know how many times I've said oops today. Alright, we gotta mix up this warp block bronze. Something's blocking the camera. Oh, yes, that's because the camera moved noticeably. There we go. Yeah, we're gonna be, I'm gonna be moving a lot of stuff this upcoming week into this room. So I hope, like, I'm gonna be completely redoing this room as my studio for work, you know, for like YouTube and stuff, because there's like a bunch of projects coming up where I need an entire room. So I'm going to be moving out of my bedroom into here, which is going to give me a lot more space, and also is going to put my painting supplies in the same room as my recording supplies, so when I record, I'll be able to just move my webcam instead of having to use my phone camera. So that'll be nice when that happens. Any idea which models you plan to work on after these change rasp? Yeah, I've got some models over there that I'll be taking a look at. I'm not sure which ones exactly I'm going to do yet, but I've got a bunch of already primed Night Haunts to do still. Ooh, this shit's gnarly looking. I can't tell if that's is that a bubble or is that just like a big glob of paint, because I haven't opened this in a while. Well, it's shaking, so. Started a new job this week. Oh. Where are you at, Curse Fanatic? Alright. So do that dude last. Let's move all my Spooky Ghost Boys over here, so I can start painting their weapons the color I actually want to paint them. Because I don't like the silver weapons. I want them to have creepy brass weapons. You work for Fidelity Investments. I have no idea what that means, but okay. Sounds something. Okay, so it's warp block, and then we have to get fancier. Okay. Let's get started. Opinions on Risk. I loved that game a lot when I was in high school. I haven't played it since. Because it was like a huge game for me and my friends in high school, even though it would always turn into like a dick measuring contest because it's hard to remain friends with people over Risk. Very easy for people to get butthurt. I had a friend who's no longer my friend, but I knew a guy who he was notorious for getting super butthurt during games. Because he thought he was just the smartest motherfucker on the planet. And yet he would never win because he had good strategies, but he was bad at manipulating people. Well, intentionally. He was a whiny bitch. But he was good at manipulating people through pity. But when you're playing Risk, it's all about manipulating people to consider you less of a threat. Or if you're in high school, then just bullying someone until they agree with you. I always have fond memories of that, though, that game of Risk, because I'll never forget that me and all the nerds stayed upstairs playing Risk at a beach in Corpus Christi. We didn't go down to the beach. And everybody was making fun of us because they were like, oh, look at you being all antisocial, you goofy nerds, you. But it turned out that there was a giant, turns out there was a big old jellyfish migration going on. So everybody who went to the beach got horribly stung. And the only people that escaped it were the nerds. God was with us. It's funny for me to think back on that. Man, this shit is like super dark. Oh my gosh. Those were back in my marching band days, when music and band was literally my life because it was so intense that we didn't have time for anything else. You could have like other hobbies in the school, but even then it was only for like the really driven kids. I don't want to say smart kids. Because if there's one thing I've learned growing up is that there's a massive difference between someone who necessarily like works hard or like fits in well at school and people who are intelligent. I think there's a massive difference. Because I have met some stupid motherfuckers who were like straight A students and, you know, were the head of the Latin club and they were good at band and, you know, yada 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 yada, but they were just the dumbest motherfuckers. Always blew my mind. They were just like completely socially inept. Like people liked them, but like they just had super fucked up views on a lot of things. They would just treat people like garbage and then not understand why people are upset with them. I was just being honest. Well, yeah, being honest isn't all that important if you're a dick about it. Most people would rather you lie. Fun fact. Because being totally honest does not make you a good person. It just makes you someone that's honest. And even then, oftentimes, truth is objective. And someone who says, I'm honest, even though I'm a dick, is still a dick. And is probably just using the honesty phrase as a shield to hide behind when people call them out on it. And those people became attorneys, yeah, right? I can see this guy having the silver sword, since he's a little bit unique. But I don't know, I'll make up my mind on that in a minute. Did I see Gobble King made his channel again? Yeah, I did. I talk to him sometimes. Not a super lot, but every once in a while. Mr. Gobbo King. Seems like he likes to fight with people sometimes. Come on, just a little. Just give me a single drop. Come on. Yeah. One more. There we go. Get that to be just a tiny bit thinner. Good night. Love your videos. Oh, thanks, Pokemon. What am I doing to record? My phone. I'm going to be using much better equipment, though, starting next week. What happened to Cathay during the end times? So Cathay was attacked in 3 waves. The first wave was the Hung tribes, who came crashing down on it and like tore through the Great Wall of Cathay, and generally made a mess of things. But Cathay managed to stop them. But then Chaos launched another wave, but this time it wasn't the Norscan equivalent, which is the Hung. It was like the legit Warriors of Chaos. And they were led primarily by a bunch of Tzeentchian-themed characters, like Galrach, First of the Chaos Dragons, and a bunch of other really powerful characters. And they did a ton of damage to Cathay, but Cathay kind of managed to rally around the Dragon Emperor, and it was struggling, but it was surviving. And then Grimgor showed up, and Grimgor just killed everybody. Like, Grimgor just fucking annihilated everybody. The Cathayans were exhausted from fighting the forces of Chaos, and the forces of Chaos weren't paying attention to defending, they were just attacking. So Grimgor just ran in and crumped everybody. And the Greenskins just took over everything. The Greenskins were undoubtedly the strongest faction in the East in the later phases of the end times. The East is green, as Morglum, Neck Snapper, would say. He was a famous orc who defeated I think that was his name, but he was a famous orc that defeated a Bretonnian king. Or, not, he didn't defeat a Bretonnian king, excuse me, he defeated a big Bretonnian army. Because the Bretonnians kept trying to expand past the border princes, and the Greenskins were not having any of it. They were like trying to take the border princes in the Badlands, and the Greenskins just sort of ran in there and beat everybody up. That's why the Bretonnians ended up giving up their claims to the border princes. Oops, sorry. One sec. Like I said, this is not a perfect system. Enjoy looking at nothing for a moment. That's a nice axe. I like bronze axes. I think that'll look really good for wood. There you go. There you go. Sorry, chat. I can't get up. Hey, so Tech, other than the Tyrion Teclis series, is there any other Warhammer books that talk more about Teclis? Yes. Teclis is a main character in the Gotrek and Felix book, Giant Slayer. Teclis is a huge character, and that book is super funny if you want a more comical look at Teclis. Like, he's still really powerful, but, you know, Gotrek is also super powerful, and they, like, fucking hate each other. So that's a super good book to read if you want to see Teclis in a very different kind of situation. Where, like, yeah, he's super powerful, but Gotrek, like, doesn't fucking care. And you kind of get to see how, like, humans react to him and stuff. Another one is the Sons of Aurelian, which are 2 books that take place in the modern canon of Warhammer Fantasy, and it has most of the elf special characters as characters. Like, they make cameos, if not outright appearances. So you see Tyrion, you see Teclis, you see Emmerich of Calidor, you see the Phoenix King, You see Malekith. You see Korhil, Caradryan. You see all the big players. And I know I said Malekith like that's a high elf, but I was just saying that Malekith's in the book as the main antagonist. Even though the book isn't about them, they just play a major role. The book is about these two other random dudes who are brothers and from Aurelion, which is why the book is called Sons of Aurelion. It's a very good book, though. It's very intense. It does a really good job of showing a modern 8th edition look at the war between the High Elves and the Dark Elves. It also does a really good job of portraying how Malekith handles the High Elves when they're on the defensive, which is much easier. It does a really good job of showing why he's still considered such a big deal and why he's such a major threat to them. Even though he's, you figure they'd be used to his tactics by now. And the book also has Morathi and explains a lot of her crazy bullshit. That's one thing a lot of books definitely struggle with, is showing off Morathi. A lot of people don't understand that Morathi is kind of crazy. You can't really be sane at her level of power and age. She's had to do some pretty messed up things to make it as long as she has. Seeing as she's like one of the oldest characters in the lore. And if she's not the oldest elf, then she's certainly competing for the spot. Despite her obsession with like eternal youth and stuff. I think there's like maybe one or two elves that are older than her that are archmages who like were personal friends with Kalador Dragon Tamer. Because you meet one of them in the Sons of Aurelion novel. Okay, here we go. That's done. There are a fourth tribe of Northmen called the Tong. Do I know them? Not off the top of my head. I try and keep only like super important broad information heavily on my mind, like in any general moment. So, I don't tend to split up the Norscan tribes or the Hung tribes or any of the other. I only worry about the big three, unless like I'm doing a particular task that requires me to do further research, and then I'll go look up what I need to know. So no, off the top of my head, I don't have the Tong to memory. It's windy as hell outside. I can just hear it howling. Oh, Izzy, no, I can only think of one. I was saying I can only think of one Archmage who might be older than her. I don't think he's in the Vortex. If I remember right, he's still hanging out in his flying city. I don't even remember if he was in the Sons of Aurelion or not. I remember the character. I don't remember what book he's in. All I remember is that he has a flying castle. But he was like really good old friends with Kalador Dragon Tamer, which may have made him older than Morothy, but there's no way to. I don't remember if the book even bothered talking about it. Am I ready for some Game of Thrones in a few weeks? No, I don't. I don't watch Game of Thrones. Not because I dislike it. I just don't watch it. Does that end in a metal plate? Oh yeah, it does. That makes it easy. Normally they do this annoying shit where these weapons like end in a wood piece, so you have to like be super careful. Always super fucking annoying. That was so much. I wish they were all that easy. Am I painting the Ghost Army for AOS? Yeah, I'm painting Night Haunts. Spooky Ghost Boys. They are my preferred pick because I like Age of Sigmar Nagash a lot, and I like the way he made this army. I thought it was really interesting because it's just like an army of damned souls that are people Nagash is punished, and depending on their punishment or like the crimes, quote unquote, that he accuses them of, which not crimes in like a sense of like they've done objective wrong, but crimes as in they've personally wronged or annoyed Nagash. His punishment is unique based on like their crime. So like healers, he makes into like these freakish frenzied barbarians because he considers healers a crime against him because they keep souls from death longer than he wants. Which I love that. So I like jealous God Nagash. He tickles my funny bone. The Order gods are cool and all, but Seraphon don't have a god, so I don't really have an attachment to any of the other gods. Wait, is AOS still being worked on? Yeah. Yeah, it's ongoing. In fact, there's an event going on right now that they're probably going to release some info about the upcoming Blades of Khorne book, or the Bloodbound, or whatever the fuck they're called. Khorne's Army. You can only play 3 video games for the rest of your life, including any future titles. What do you choose? Total War, Legend of Zelda, and I mean that's really good for me. Guess like I don't know, Mario, just because I know it's like always gonna be there. Maybe Metroid. I like Metroid games. Well, that's I don't know. I don't know. I think I'd be good with just those 2, honestly. But variety is kind of the spice of life. I don't know if there's any game series I like that much. Where I'd only want to play just it. Total War is probably the closest thing, but even Total War, I have to take a break from sometimes. Okay. Whoop. Oh yeah, Curse Fanatic. That's perfect. Pokemon, yes, yes, please. Pokemon is such a great. I am so excited for Sword and Shield. I did not end up getting Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee because I just heard it was just super easy. I heard it was very cute and fun, but I was like I can't justify spending like $60 on this. Um, just because it doesn't sound like there's any challenge to it. So I'm really looking forward to the new entry. Hopefully, it will be amazing. I was kind of annoyed though. I found out that the Battle Scribe, which is the program I used to make my army list for Age of Sigmar, it rolls the Night Haunts in with the Legions of Nagash, so you have to deal with like both army books while building your army, which is fine if you're playing Legions of Nagash, but I don't want to fucking do that. I want to build just pure Night Haunt. Like I don't want to deal with having to like. There's so many units in the Legion of Nagash army because the Legion of Nagash is like Archon the Black and all his shit, then Neferata and all her shit, and Manfred and all his shit, and then Nagash. And then you have the Night Haunts, which are like totally their own thing. And I hate that they throw them in a book together. And it's because you can. I'm pretty sure they did that because you can take them as non-allies. So like if you're building competitive, you can mix them. But if I'm gonna play Ghost Boys, I'm just gonna play fucking Ghost Boys. I don't care about fucking vampires or necromancers or whatever. As much as I do think the newer models for all of them are pretty cool. Like I do like the mounts that Manfred, Archon, and Neferata have. They're fucking super Tomb King dogs. Have I played any of the Fire Emblem games? Oh yeah, that's another one. Fucking love Fire Emblem. Except the last ones. The last ones fucking sucked. The Fates. I thought Fates was fucking terrible. Thought those were trash games. Hated them. Awakening though, fucking perfection. That game, literally perfection. Oh, which starter? For Sword and Shield, right now I'm leaning towards Sebille, the water Pokemon, which normally I go fire, but I really like the look of the little chameleon toad. But I reserve my final judgment until I see the final forms. So right now I like the anxiety chameleon. He's kind of adorable. You know, I thought I was going to hate doing this without music, but I didn't want to get copyright striked, so I could actually put this up for monetization, but I'm actually enjoying myself, even though I don't have, like, blaring background music. If anything, it's making it easier to paint. Which is kind of funny. Normally I have to have, like, loud noises, not to be anxious. But it seems painting requires too much of my concentration for me to be effectively anxious, which is good. Good. There we go. Spooky swords. What time is it? It is 11:43 p.m. where I am. When is the next Who Would Win? Whenever Turin is ready for it. Getting a hold of Turin lately has been nightmarishly difficult. Like, he has been giving me the runaround something fierce. So, I don't know what's going on, but I mean, I might do it without him, but I'd really rather not, because, I don't know, that feels kind of scummy. I might need to give him an ultimatum soon, because I want to do it, because that was really easy revenue for my channel, and I could do it without him, and I don't think that would lessen the quality of it, but, you know, when you do a project with someone, it feels weird when that person isn't there, I guess, is what I'm trying to say. Like, I don't want to take advantage of that. But at the same time, I gotta eat. And I really gotta put out some heavy hitters before like the end of this week. If I want to have an okay sized paycheck. Because right now, it's not looking so good. But that's because I was like sick for a week. So I wasn't putting out any content. And I didn't do any tournaments. We'll probably do 2 tournaments this week. Sobble is probably going to evolve into a Shakespearean acting lizard? What the fuck? What is your basis for that? That seems so random to me. A Shakespearean acting lizard? I mean, I know the game's set in, like, England or whatever. Or an England equivalent. But what makes you set on it being, like, a play character? Or acting? Theater? I know a little about the Age of Sigmar lore. Can you tell me more about Age of Sigmar? Did you ever see the anime called The Seven Deadly Sins? Describing Age of Sigmar is a little difficult. It's a continuation of Warhammer Fantasy. They just changed the names of everything to be copyrightable. Is kind of the important aspect of it. Am I painting Warhammer miniatures? No, Ryan. I'm painting Age of Sigmar miniatures. Also, hold on. I saw someone else. I know that Quaish and Dar are basically using all the wins, but what about Skaven Magic and such? Okay, I'll answer that first. So, who was that? I'm going for a walk. The answer to that is essentially that my thing on it is that all the winds of magic are made up of some mixture of the 8 basic lores. So to get something like Skaven magic, basically what you do is you take dark magic, and you use religion or some kind of strongly held emotion or belief to influence the magic further. But generally, the way magic works is that to get like a special lore is you basically, most of the time, you take dark magic and you throw in religion. So you add in prayers, or you call upon a deity to manipulate the Dar in a very specific way. That's how we get gastromancy, or any of the chaos lores, or Skaven magic. Because even the difference between ruin and plague is just kind of like what aspect of the horned rat they're calling out to. You know, whether they're calling out to him as the great ruiner, or the most pestilent one, or whatever. So they're not. It's not like they're true different mixes. Sometimes you'll get like some pretty crazy ones. Like, I believe there are lores of magic that are specific corruptions. So, like, I think the lore of beasts, or the lore of the wild, for instance, which is used by beastmen, I significantly believe that is the lore of beasts. It's lore of beasts focused, but then heavily corrupted by Dar. Just like the lore of necromancy is the lore of death, heavily corrupted by Dar, and with a sprinkling of the rites and magic used by the lore of Nehekara, which is why a lot of the death or necromancy spells have Nehekaran incantations or names, shit like that. So hopefully that answers that question. As to the Age of Sigmar question, I don't want to go super into detail about that because that would literally have me talking for hours. All I can say is just, try getting into it. Find a faction that you like the look of. Maybe pick up their army book or look them up online. See if you like their flavor. Basically, though, Age of Sigmar is just a high fantasy version of Warhammer Fantasy. So it doesn't have... The big difference is that it no longer has the historical duality. So, like, one of the things that me and a lot of people liked about Warhammer Fantasy that did not translate into Age of Sigmar was that in Warhammer Fantasy, it was based on the real world's history. So you saw a lot of really interesting parallels between our world and the Warhammer Fantasy world. A lot of the major historical events like the Crusades or the Black Plague, or but a lot of those really big Western events happen in Warhammer Fantasy. They just happen in a fantastical environment instead of a true historical environment. In Age of Sigmar, you don't have that, so everything kind of just happens in a vacuum, where everything is like way bigger and way crazier, and everything's just dialed up to 11 because that's just what they thought people would like. They wanted to make it more like 40k, where just the stakes and the armies and the monsters and everything are just way higher and bigger. But yeah. And have I ever seen Seven Deadly Sins anime? Yes. Yes, I have. And I liked it a lot. I've only seen the first season, though. So I haven't even seen all the sins yet. Like, I don't think I've seen Pride yet. But Wrath was a pretty cool character. Sloth was fun. Envy was hilarious, and the relationship between Sloth and Envy was hilarious. That show definitely appeals to my sense of humor. I think it might be a little bit, what's the phrase? Fan art heavy? If you know what I mean. People who watch it for the plot. But I thoroughly enjoyed it. Thought it was very fun. Even though the plot got a little weird towards the end of the first season. And they did the whole big reveal thing. It's just like, this all feels very unnecessary, but okay, whatever. Did you convince me? Did you convince me of what? Oh, I saw your comment in that it was big, but I didn't read it before I scrolled down too far. Is Age of Sigmar any good? Yeah, it's fun. Scorebunny is a soccer player. Grookey is a rock music player, and Sobol is some kind of actor. Alright, I mean, I don't really care for leaks. I will reserve my opinion until Nintendo officially releases it, because I just don't give them any shits, but... I mean, I don't even care about the theme, that there's still to me, there's still a lot of nuance in how those characters could look. If you had told me for the third generation that my favorite... You told me there's there's a giant, fast green reptile creature. There's a fighting chicken. And there is a giant water toad creature thing. I probably would have gone with the green or the grass Pokemon, or the grass starter, Sceptile.
or Trico, whichever one you want to call it. Like that probably would have been my choice based on that. But like based on playing the game and like picking the starter who I like the final evolution of the most, I ended up going with Blaziken. And I fucking loved Blaziken. They're not leaks, mostly educated guesses. No. Yeah, I'm feeling better. Still had some rough moments today, but nothing like god awful. Okay, the last two are easy. Thank you. It's weird how close these guys are to being done. It's gonna be nice to actually have like finished a unit, even though they're not at all what I want them to look like. Which is upsetting. Excuse you, Chloe. I was experimenting with their colors, and it did not come out the way I liked. But it's too big of a thing to like change, so I'm just gonna deal with it. And one day I will get more chain rasps, and when that day comes, I will fix their colors. Because these guys, as you can see, have like a green and blue theme. Oh shoot! Accidentally. And there goes his arm. Okay, this is one of the models that I broke a while back, and I didn't realize it because I did such a good job of fixing it. And then I was painting too aggressively, and now it broke. What would happen if Games Workshop re-announced a whole re-release of the Lizardman kit for older models? Oh yeah, I'd go get it. Hell, if they just released a new Seraphon model, I'd go get it. I don't think that's going to happen. Like I think if we get lucky, they might give us like a new Skink or a new Slon when they update the Seraphon book for like the endless spells, but I'm not anticipating anything more intense or specific than that. The Seraphon line seems... I mean, the Seraphon line is huge compared to most Age of Sigmar lines already. So, you know, the good news is we have a big line, so we have a lot of options. The bad news is because we have a huge line, we don't get the excitement of new releases. Heard today that if you think about something in the shower, you aren't over it, and that's when I realized I'm not over the burning of the Library of Alexandria. If you say so. Do I play Kill Team? No. I have a bunch of Tyranids, but they haven't seen play yet. Oh, thanks, Crazy C4. Chloe, what are you doing? Silly dog. Oh, don't break. Yeah, Izzy, I'm much better. Can't remember very carefully. At least their glues have gotten better over the years. Their glues used to be fucking terrible. Literally just the worst. Used to be you could be gluing like the simplest plastic pieces together, and the model just would not be having it. Here's a quick Chloe flash for anyone interested. Hey Chloe, what are you doing? What are you doing? Sick girl. All right. Good night, Hugh. Thanks for coming by. I appreciate the kind words. Oops. Sorry, guys. One sec. She is a good dog. The best dog. There's a lot of animes I need to get caught up on, which I'm not going to mention here because knowing the internet, people will be like, let me just drop some spoilers here. And I'm going to be like, oh, fuck that guy. Oh, I have this nifty thing. I should probably use it. There we go. And then Chloe's like, you should go to bed or go to the other room so I can go to bed. She's such a goofy dog. She doesn't like to go to bed if there's someone still up. She likes to hang out with them. Even though all she does is sit there and like breathe loudly and complain about the fact that she's still up. It's like, you made this choice. Alright, so that's... Nope, that's not the last one. Got Mr. Giant Ball Mace here. Going to bed. What's the status of the YouTube RPG? I think it's dead in the water right now. Pretty sure Italian Spartacus does not want to get back to it. Which isn't a huge deal, but I mean, I can't even get Turin for a who would win right now, which would be a lot easier and require less work. So, not imagining things are looking too good for the RP. Gotta say. Doesn't seem great. I mean, the good news is we pretty much did the entire adventure. The only thing that was left was literally like half a page of stuff where it was like chase down a dwarf and like decide what to do with them. And that would have been it. So I'm not like super upset if we don't finish it because we basically finished it. We just kind of left off on an awkward cliffhanger. But I don't care. Oop, easier. That's too bad. It was very entertaining. Yeah, well, I hope to start a much more entertaining one. That's also a lot more lore accurate and doesn't have quite such ridiculous characters. But I'm trying to be better about not talking about things that aren't going to happen for a long time or things that I don't know when they're going to happen. So I'm electing to invoke that right. I'm going to let you keep your silver sword because you're like the cool boss man. So you get to have the nice grody silver blade. Nice. Yeah, this guy's actually done. All I need to do for him is base him. But I don't know if y'all can.
I'll get move this here, but this guy's pretty much done. Pretty happy with how it came out. Like I said, I'm not going to be doing the purple green thing anymore because I don't really like the way it looks. But I'm okay with how this guy came out overall. But all I got left to do is base him, which will be pretty easy. Because I want, this is the color scheme I want. I want these guys. See how they're kind of like that dark, they kind of go from like black to blue. That's what I'm trying to do. But I didn't have the right paints for that when I started painting these guys. So I picked up those paints.
So I'll be able to do that for like the next year. But that's why you always start with your shittiest troops first. And not your characters. That way if you fuck up, you can realize, you can figure out how to paint the models. Okay, so while the weapons are drying, I'm going to do... So I want to do the wood next. Or the tombstones. Let's do the wood. So not all characters have wooden components. Just some of them. So this guy does... This guy does. This guy does. This guy does. This guy does. I think most of them, actually. Pretty much, the only ones that don't are pretty much just the dudes with swords. Hoping I can finish this unit tonight. That would be nice. If I could show up with, like, a finished unit tomorrow. That'd make me feel a little better. That way I'm not just the scrub that shows up and, like, has all the white and gray models. Because I'll probably like build an acceptable list tonight while I learn how to play Nighthawks. Because I've never actually played with my Nighthawks. This will be a first for me. This will be a new experience. All right, Crazy C4, have a good night, man. All right, so for wood, you start with dryad bark. Okay, I saw that earlier. Where is it? Landry dust. Warp block bronze, Incubi black, Cantor blue, Rhinox hide, brass scorpion. I'm gonna need that a bit. Where the fuck? I just saw it. I literally just saw it, like right here. Oh, here it is. Dryad bark. Have a good night, Aztec. So the starter set for 4th edition seems to be hinting at a supplement called The Enemy in the Shadows. Well, that'll be neat. Yeah, that fucking starter set, man. It's taking them a year. A fucking year to get that shit out. That is bonkers to me. That is so obnoxious. Okay, we're going to use our tiny brush. Our super detail brush. It should be a detail brush. This is a layer brush, but whatever. It is still my smallest brush. Actually, I think layer brush is the smallest it gets. When I think about it, but whatever. Yeah, I know it means they're selling a lot of copies, but it also is just super unprofessional. Makes me not want to buy stuff from them in the future. When they take so incredibly long to get it out. Alright, let's get a good dollop of that. Open this all the way. There we go. And then make a good old circle of it so I can always thin your paints. Just get a little... Yeah, there we go. I'm going to do 2 thin coats. When you can. This part's going to be tricky because this is a really dark color. And I've got a lot of light colors going on. So I have to be very, very careful. Can't tell if that's watery or just the... Oh, no, that's just the way it looks. Okay. Ooh, Dryad Bark is dark. It's super dark. This is a paint that if I fuck up with, it is going to let me know. Always thin your paints and alcohol. Ugh. I don't know if everyone would agree with the alcohol side of that statement. What would I put in a Clan Molder DLC? Master Molder as a Lord. Maybe a Packmaster as a hero with like anti-rampage abilities. Then I would do Storm Fiends, Giant Rat Packs, and Wolf Rats, Brood Horrors, and that'd probably be it. Man, I hate how fast my paints dry out. Brood Horrors. Yep, you can Google it. They're from the same book that the Necro Colossus and shit comes from. The Monstrous Arcanum. They're ugly, though. I'll tell you that. There's so many units I'd still like to see in the game. Like, even for, like, Clan Pestilence. Like, if we got a Cauldron of 1,000 Poxes, I'd fucking love that. That's a model most people don't know about. Sorry, just check the news. Okay, I don't know what you're talking about, but whatever. Oop, that might have been too much. Gotta tell y'all, being able to paint without having to hold the model is a fucking godsend. Like, oh my god, it makes it so much easier. I think that's good. Doesn't need to be perfect, just needs to be good. One axe down. Use a wet palette. Oh, that would probably be a good idea. I mean, the palette's kind of this weird laminated substance, but it definitely does not seem wet. But I don't understand what I'm supposed to wet my palette with. I don't want to fuck up the colors. Sorry if I'm really quiet. I'm really concentrating. You dropped a whole stack in the sauce bucket? I don't even know what that means. What do you mean, parchment paper? Sounds like it'd be horrifying, but also somewhat satisfying to watch, Izzy. Why is this like recessed? What the fuck? Yeah, get in there. I've got like 4 more colors to do on this stupid shit. That's why we use 2 thin coats. Make sure it looks really nice and good. Nothing leaks through. Boop. Oh yeah, that looks good. I'll check this. You're painting some cryptors, Tony. Dude, Death Allegiance represent. Even though I'm Order at heart. But I am enjoying building death. Yeah, that's better. So it's 5, 6, 7, so 13 to go. I'm going to try getting a little bit more. Do I like 40k? Yeah. Yeah, I do, Hugh. I don't like it as much as Fantasy or Age of Sigmar, but I do like it. I play the games. I have a collection of NIDs that I'm working on. Well, that I will work on once I'm done working on my Night Haunts. Which is dumb because I literally got them to participate in like the build up to 8th edition release, and then I didn't paint them fast enough. Because painting like 40 NIDs takes for fucking ever. That's just the damn Hormigons. I haven't even started the Termagants yet. Oop, that was way too much water. Oof, way too much. There you go. That was also too much water, but whatever. I can make that work. Never mind. No, I can't. I fucking... Also, good night for real. We'll have a good night, Hugh. This is the worst when you get too much water on your brush. It's agonizing. There we go. Much better. Oop, easy. Easy to... Oh, that's the wrong pile. Get rid of the shininess from this wood. I definitely went a little too ham on with the brass. Grace confirmed no news on the DLC this week. Oh, that's unfortunate. That's okay, though. Hopefully we'll get something soon. It's almost, it's going to be, we're going to be getting to the 20th next week, so maybe next week. So it's definitely starting to look like an early April release, for certain. Because they won't be able to announce it in time. If they're going to do late March, they'd have to do it this week. Because they always do about 2 weeks ahead of release. So... No, everybody's just chomping at the bit for this DLC. It's going to be kind of an interesting one because it's the last one that we know what's going to happen. Like, everything after this is going to be so mysterious. It seems like they're wanting to update all of the old world races before they do Warhammer 3. At least I mean, especially because this one's looking like, from the preview they gave, it looks like it's going to be a Bretonia update. Oh, your father owned a store back in the 1990s. Okay. Oh, dude, I was barely alive. I was only born in 92. The City of Pillars, yeah, the City of Pillars is Karak Apex. That is correct. The City of Pillars is typically what the Skaven call it. That's kind of their big name for it. Man, that thing does not like to stay up. Did a big old glob. You can't remember why the Skaven call it the City of Many Pillars, or you can't remember why you're reading that book? I can only answer one of those. Why you're reading the book? Yeah, I don't know what to tell you. Let's do the stockade, dude. This poor bastard. Oh, I just realized I missed a metal bit. Shoot. 2 metal bits. Great. Apologize. That just caused you guys an earthquake. Yeah, that wasn't working. What other armies? Do I have any others besides Naha? Oh yeah. Um. I have a bunch of different armies. Well, I don't have a lot of full armies anymore. I had to sell a lot of my models a few years back. When I like dropped out of college. Well, I didn't completely drop out of college, but I essentially dropped out of college. And I had to sell a bunch of my models to make ends meet for a bit, but I still have a bunch of Seraphon. I have a fair amount of Greenskins, Empire, Tomb Kings. I have. I have a lot of random characters more than like big armies anymore. My biggest thing though are my Night Haunts now and my Seraphon. Those are the things I have in the most abundance for sure. I have random crap lying around of like Bretonians and stuff. I also have a bunch of Tyranids. Most of whom are still in boxes. Am I painting that tiny ass little spot? It's just gonna make me mess up and do something stupid. That's good. Now, I'm going to start covering AOS lore eventually, probably not anytime super soon. I don't think a lot of my channel would be super interested. And there's still like a ton of Warhammer stories I want to tell. So I should probably finish the thing I'm actually like really famous for, and then worry about expanding into new universes. I mean, I imagine I'll be covering both at some point, but like I said, I just want to hit a lot of fantasy stuff before that day happens. Alright, Curse Fanatic, have a good night, man. Thanks for coming by. Appreciate it. Painting takes forever. I am literally someone that would buy these models pre-painted if that was offered. Like, even if they weren't, like, just to have good paint jobs done. Like, you just put in an order and you show up and pick up a box and they're like pre-assembled and pre-painted. I mean, you can do that, but you have to, because it's a private enterprise or like a single individual, it just costs way more than it would if it was like assembly line. Because I know, like, probably not anytime soon, but maybe this spring, I'm thinking about having a commission piece done for my Tenant One model. Like, I'm thinking of buying a Stegadon mount and having him sent off with Tenant One and get them to make an Engine of the Gods version that's like showcase level, because I can't paint that good. But it's gonna be so expensive. Even if I send it off somewhere locally, I might send it off to like Peru to have what's his face do it. I'm forgetting his name. Anyone who's regular on the community knows what I'm talking about, but I might just send it off to like Blue Table Painting, even though, because I like the work they do, but they also do some things that I find kind of annoying. Like, I noticed on my Old Blood they did that they didn't do they don't go like super hardcore in the details, I guess is the best way to put it. Like, the details were very nice, but like anything you weren't gonna see from like a bird's eye view, they just fucking, it was super lazy. Because they were like, no one's gonna see that, which is fair, but I don't know if I'm gonna have a 10 of 1 model done. Palooka, that's right. But it's like, if I'm gonna get 10 of 1 done, especially since he's like a collector's item now and not a usable model, or like doesn't have any rules or shit anymore, I would really want him to be a display piece. Like, I could still use him in games for like a Stegadon model, but at least I stopped feeling nauseous while painting. I was having kind of a weird day. I think I either slept too late or I'm not sure. Oh, this is the guy I just fixed, so I need to be more gentle. I noticed his arm wiggles a little more than everybody else's. I'm betting we'll get a Seraphon Battletome this year. Yeah, that seems to be the case. Seems like most of this year for Age of Sigmar is going to be Battletomes getting updated. I don't know if there's going to be a ton of new races this year, which isn't bad. Though there are, it amazes me that Age of Sigmar has been going on for 2 years and there's still like entire Warhammer Fantasy races that are in the game but are missing their own books, like regular ogres. Like ogres that are on foot. They desperately need a book. I'm pretty sure the ogre players are kind of pissed about that. Like you have to play regular destruction to play what are they called? Iron Guts? The faction, not the unit. I forget what the faction's called. There's a specific name for ogres on foot. Yeah, there's still a ton of elf factions missing. Like all of them. Like we have the Sea Elves and we have the Witch Elf factions, but we don't have the other two Super Elves yet, and we don't have any of the Minor Elves. Because the Sylvaneth are not an elf faction, because they don't even really have that much of a connection with the Wanderers. They're not on the friendliest terms. Have I posted or streamed AOS or 8th edition tabletop? I have streamed / played, or at least recorded, a game of me playing 8th edition. It's been a long time, but it's somewhere on the channel. I have a couple of tabletop games on there. But I'm going to be going tomorrow evening to the Citadel, which is a store in Grapevine, Texas. I'm going to be going there to play some games of AOS because they're doing an Escalation League, which sounds like fun. So I'm going to go over there and bring my Nighthawks, and hopefully I can record or at least take pictures of the game and show that off to you guys. Not sure if I'll make that like a different channel, or maybe just like put it up on the subreddit instead of putting it on the regular channel. I don't know. But I'm going to be playing an online game of 8th edition pretty soon. And that I'm definitely doing on the channel. I'm probably going to live stream that actually. I'm going to be playing my friend Jacob, who he's going to be playing Skaven. And I'll be playing Lizardman, and we're going to be playing Swedish Comp too. Gutbusters. Thank you. That's the ogre faction name. Oh, this is going to be one of the fucking hard ones. This dude's got like bands of metal around his wood staff thing instead of just like having a big old fat piece. Which makes it very tricky. Especially because this wood is so fucking dark, it's actually kind of really hard to see against the dark brass. The only way I can tell the colors apart is when they dry, or since the brass has like a sheen to it. Yeah, we use Drew, we used Universal Battle for Warhammer Fantasy, and we use Tabletop Simulator for Warhammer 40k or Age of Sigmar. I've heard there's a community for Tabletop Simulator for Warhammer, but that seems a little more tricky to me. Because Warhammer was like so precise about like the movement rules and shit. I'm gonna laugh my ass off if Gutbusters and Elves go to Legacy. That would be the goofiest shit. Like, with how important they are in the lore, that would also piss off their player bases like so bad. Yeah, I would not support Games Workshop if they did that. That would be enough of an offense for me to like refuse to buy from them until they redressed it. I'd make videos and shit and call them out on it because that would be obnoxious. If they were like, "Yep, you have to take ogres on primordial creatures because ogres on foot is not a thing." Like, if you're like, "What the fuck?" Yeah, that'd be like them coming out and saying like, space wolves have to be mounted on wolves, or else they're not space wolves anymore. Like, it's not a legal model if it's not on a wolf. Like, it'd be just as dumb. Oh, that looks pretty good. Yeah, I'm okay with how that turned out. Great. Well, yeah, Drew, Universal Battle kind of shot itself in the foot because it was an okay website that had a decent thing going for it. Excuse me. And then they competed with themselves because they released Universal Battle 2, but it was a program, and I liked it a lot less than the website Universal Battle. So they ended up being their own competition because they wanted everyone to download the program instead of using the website, and I don't think it took off in the way they were hoping it would. So it kind of killed the community a bit. It was a bit of a oopsies. I mean, I'll have to look into Tabletop Simulator for Warhammer Fantasy, because if I could play 8th edition on Tabletop Sim, I'd probably prefer it. Because in Tabletop Sim, you can have 3D models as opposed to 2D model, just top down. So that would be kind of cool. That was probably 4 years ago. Oh, dude, I remember Universal Battle being hot shit 4 years ago. Wait, what year is it now? It's 2019. 20. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I was on Universal Battle around that time, but I was using it for tabletop and roleplay. I was using it a lot for a Warhammer Fantasy Second Edition roleplay back then. That was back when I lived in Fort Worth. Which, that was a different time, I'll tell you that. No fucking idea what I was doing with my life back then. Also had not discovered the magical world of YouTube yet as a career. I was still trying to get a normal job. Worked as an RA, which is I worked as a DA, which was a desk assistant instead of a room advisor, or whatever the fuck it stood for. That job was madness. It wasn't a bad job, but I had to work at really shitty times. What army am I painting? I'm painting Nighthaunts. Gerard. Legions of Nagash are a similar but different army. Legions of Nagash are like the bros to my guys. You can take them. I think you can take them together without like having to use ally points. But I'm not into the big fat dead army. I prefer niche armies with like specific themes. That's always been how I liked my armies. You know, like all skink tabletop armies or shit like that. Ooh, I hate this model. Very difficult to paint this guy's weapon. I'm probably only going to go for a few more minutes. I do want to get to bed at a pseudo-reasonable hour, and it's already almost 1 o'clock. I think I'm going to check some paperwork before I go to bed. Maybe read a little bit of a passage that I'm trying to write a video about, just to make sure it's fresh in my memory. And then call it a night. I was very upset the other day to realize that one of my books had gone missing. The good news is I have a digital copy of it. The bad news is reading it as a digital book is much more difficult because when my screen turns white due to, like, you know, a book's background, holy mother of shit, it is like a second sun on the earth. It's so bright. It hurts my eyes. I need to figure out a way to like make it a black screen with white text. That's so much easier for me to read. My eyes are very light sensitive. Me and bright lights are not friends. You know what? I'll probably finish this wave of. Ooh, I fucked that up. That was a big oops. I mean, it wasn't a huge oops, but it was enough of an oops to. It's going a little too ham there. Okay, there we go. How many models of Lizardman or Seraphon do I have? Oh boy. I probably have at least 300 models, I'd probably say. I know I have about 100 different kinds of skinks. I have like 4 skink priests. I have 2 or 3 Scar veterans. I have 2 Scar veterans on Cold Ones. I have 2 Bastiladons. I have at least 3 Stegodons. One of which is an engine, one of which is the old bow version, and one of which is the Pew Pew version. Then I have a buttload of Saurus. I have 4 Salamanders. I have 6 Croxagores. I have 2 Carnosaurs. I have a Troglodon. I have probably 8 Skink Chiefs. I have every special character. And I think that's everything. Oh, I have 2 Slon. I have Lord Croc, but that's, special characters. Why not a dark blue background with white text? Sure, that works too. I don't fucking care. Doesn't matter to me what the background is, as long as the text is white and the background's dark. But I don't know how to do that on like a text read program. That's not true. I bet I could figure it out. I've just been lazy about it. I need to stop being lazy about it. Just do it. Because it's a good book, and I would like to read it. I was trying to figure out Queek Headtaker's age again, because it's pertinent to what I'm working on. Because his age is a little bit funky, because he's like super young, and they outright say his age in a couple books, I know where his age is stated in Headtaker, but of course the tricky part about Headtaker is trying to figure out when Headtaker takes place. Because it's pretty close to the modern age, but not super. Because y'all know I'm doing a Carrick 8 Peaks themed ordeal, and one of the most annoying parts is trying to get a good timeline put together, because almost all of the books totally disagree with each other about like what happened and what the order of events were. Especially when you have someone like Queek, who, like, from the Dwarf and Skaven perspective, not the Skarsnik personal book. The Skarsnik personal book, thankfully, didn't fuck this up, but, like, the army books, the Dwarf and the Skaven army books treat Queek like he's been there for fucking ever. And then, when you read Queek's personal book, it takes place after he's been in charge of Carrick 8 Peaks for, like, a year, at least, and he's only, like, 4 years old. So it's like he hasn't been there that long, and Belagar by that point's already been there for 20 years. Skarsnik's already been there for about 20-25 years, but even though both of them are of course much older than that, Belagar's in like his 200s or 300s, while Skarsnik's tricky to pin down an age for. I don't know if that's even really possible. Skarsnik's old. I know that much. He's not ancient, but he's old. I think Skarsnik's in like his 50s or 60s. I might be able to get a hard date on it, but it'll be tricky. Because I know for sure that Skarsnik was alive during Belagar's first expedition to Carrick 8 Peaks. But I'm not 100% sure if he, or if we have a hard date on that event. Or if we have like a vague date. It's one of those things I have to check. But then again, I'm not super worried about it because I'm not working on Skarsnik's Legendary Lord video yet. Soon, but not yet. So I don't really need to know his age. I just kind of have to figure out Queek's age because that changes a couple of little things. So obviously, Queek can't occur or show up to events that he wasn't alive for. Even if Games Workshop says he was there. Because I think during the end times, Queek is... I think he gets up to like 10 before he dies. But the end times take like a good 6 or 7 years by the end of it. Because Queek didn't die until the very end. Well, not the very end, but very close to the very end. The siege of Karazakarak happened pretty late. You know, seeing as it was like the last great battle of the dwarves. As an empire, anyway. Because after that, they were kind of like a roving band. What's my favorite battle in the end times? My favorite battle... My favorite, like, big battle was probably... I don't know. Probably... The Siege of Altdorf was pretty cool. Yeah, probably the Siege of Altdorf. The Siege of Altdorf was awesome. Just because there were so many factions. It was a 3-on-3. Because it was the Vampire Counts, it was the Vampire Counts, the Empire, and Bretonia versus the Beastmen, the Demons of Chaos, and the Warriors of Chaos. And it was fucking insane. Like, it was such a good fight. They wrote it really well. Like, there were just a ton of special characters, and there were a lot of, like, cameo appearances by famous characters, and a lot of them died. You know, which was just great. Because that's what you wanted to see. You know, you wanted to see your favorite character show up. And there was a fuckload of characters in that battle, and they all died really realistically too. You know, it wasn't like you had characters getting killed off by super random shit, and it also wasn't like one of my only complaints with the Nagash book was that because the Nagash book had the Vampire Counts as the main characters through a good portion of the book, and Archon the Black. They were basically invincible, and they kind of plot armored their way through a lot of BS. Some of them got hit with like ridiculous attacks, or like really clever opponents outwitted them and stuff, but they just kept winning because, like, fucking just magic. Like, there was a lot of moments where they should have gone down, or, like, some of them should have died, but they didn't just because Games Workshop gave them shiny new models, and they didn't want to deal with it. Like, of the 7 Mortarchs that Nagash has during the end times, that was way too much. Of the 7 Mortarchs, Neferata, Archon, and Manfred all make it to the very end. Even though Neferata gets sidelined, like, immediately, which makes no sense. Like, one of my biggest beefs with Neferata was that if they weren't going to use her, they should have just had her go out in, like, an epic engagement. So it wouldn't just be this awkward thing of her, like, sitting around and literally doing nothing. Because that's what she does. Neferata doesn't do anything after the first book. I think she makes an appearance in the 4th book when they fight Isabella. But even then, Neferata doesn't do very much. Like, she just kind of is there, and then she gets left behind. And, like, that's the last time we ever see her. And it's, like, super goofy. Like, it would have been way more interesting to have her and Khalida at battle it out in the Tomb King escalation campaign. But anyway, Krell made it to the end, even though he ends up dying. Dietrich Helschnitt, he turns into like a beholder from D&D or something. So he doesn't die. Luther Harkin dies in book 4 to Isabella. Who else is there? How many more trucks is that? That's Manfred. Oh, Vlad dies in book 5. So yeah, the Mortarks are probably one of the biggest beefs I have. Yeah. All of the Mortarks, despite the fact that all the Mortarks appear in book 1 as major characters, not a single one of them die until book 4 of 5. And then they all die, like, really fast. But, like, they only die to each other, pretty much. Or, like, at the very last epic battle. But, like, Vlad killed himself. Neferata, Archon, and Manfred got blown up. Well, no, Manfred got killed by Tyrion. But, like, I don't know. They were all just way more important than I think they deserved to be. Like, it would have been good for a couple of them at least to have died in the starting wars. They all had so much plot armor, it was fucking ridiculous. Like, Kemmler hit Archon the Black with, like, an uber spell of doom, and Archon just literally, like, shook it off because he was basically invincible. Neferata and Krell got, like, hit by, like, a full-powered OP Super Saiyan blast by Thoric Ironbrow when he self-destructed his own Anvil of Doom, and it, like, barely scratched them. Or, like, the book plays it up like it does a lot of damage to them, but it has no lasting effect. Like, it even notes that it causes Krell to, like, slow down, and, like, even Nagash's necromancy can't get him back up to full strength. But that doesn't impact him. Like, he still is, like, an undefeated champion until he loses to Sigvald. So, I don't know. I thought they were pretty poorly written as Mary Sue's a lot. It felt like the Mortarks and the vampire characters in general were all just ridiculously overpowered and didn't... Like, the only ones that died were the ones that betrayed Nagash. Like, any of them that didn't side with Nagash and work for him, they all, like, died immediately. To different reasons. It wasn't even like Nagash killed them. He killed a couple of them, but, like, he killed Zacharias the Everliving. But, you know, Wallach... Oh, Wallach, okay. I will rescind that statement. Wallach Harkin was a Mortark, and he was the first one to die, and he died in the first book. So there was one Mortark who died early on, but that's because he betrayed Nagash and Vlad killed him. It wasn't because, like, Nagash was trying to do something and failed. You know. But that's just this man's opinion. I could bitch about the end times for, like, eternity. Like, don't get me wrong, there are a lot of parts of it I actually really enjoyed. But I could complain about the end times until our world's end times. Swear to goodness. It was such a crazy awesome opportunity, and they fucking blew it in so many different ways. Because they were much more worried about setting up for a new universe that nobody knew about yet, instead of properly sending off an old one. And that makes them jerks. The old Games Workshop. I don't hold the new one responsible for that. I don't think they had any power in that situation. Where are the X guys? The X guys, I don't look at because they got a little messy. There, that's what I wanted. That's why we do multiple coats. More axes. Yes. Painting can be so strange sometimes because you'll be working on a piece of it and like a color will be in the wrong spot and you're just like, how the fuck did that even get there? Ooh, this one dried like super dark for some reason. Oh, you know what? It's because of the colors around it. That's why. It doesn't have any of those greens acting as a highlight, and so it makes it look a lot darker than on the other models. Alright. What have you missed? Not a lot. Just painting. I finished this model. He's done. So you can kind of look here. He's all finished. He's got his old brass staff with little highlights of nitrous oxide, and he's got his little keys and his old sword and his helmet and all that jazz, and there's the back of him. All I gotta do now is paint his base black and put terrain on it. And as for the rest of these dudes, I just finished putting warp block bronze on all their weapons. I got warp block bronze on all their weapons, and I got dryad bark on all of their wooden halves and shit. Oh, I'm gonna take care of this guy real quick. I need lead belcher. Not the shitty lead belcher. Here we go. Do I think Tomb Kings will ever come back to tabletop? Do I think they will? No, but I really hope they will. They still show up, weirdly, in the Age of Sigmar lore, so I wouldn't say it's impossible. It just seems very unlikely. If that makes sense. Seems super thick. It's okay though, it is a base metal. Or base paint. Oh no, this is good. I didn't realize this dude had some metal components on his stockade that he's trapped in. And you can't have a stockade made out of wood, you gotta have the cuff parts be metal. Alright. So we'll just do a little lead belcher. Oop, it looks all thick. Ahmad, yes, they come unbuilt and unpainted. It's part of the hobby, is what they sell it as, even though I would actually much prefer if they came pre-painted personally. Make my job easier. But yeah, it's a major component of the hobby. Is they come unpainted, so that you can assemble them and paint them however you wish. Yeah, Mogwai, I've read about Cetra the Imperishable or I've read about Cetrus, the Stormcast Eternal who leads the Imperishables, and I'm very aware of his tongue-in-cheek reference. Alright, so all I got left now is the swords. I'm going to go over with Brass Scorpion, which is going to be a pain in the butt. What about... I guess I could go ahead and take care of the tombs, because there's not a lot of those. How many of you guys have tombs? One... Not... Oh, rock? Yeah, so I guess I'll paint that the same color. That's 2... 3... 4... 5... 6... 7... That's a boulder. 8... 9. That it? I guess I can knock out the first layer of that real quick. Okay, yeah, that's not too bad. Only 9 guys. That's less than half. I need Mechanicus Standard Gray. What army am I painting and who are they? These are the Night Haunts. They're a bunch of spooky ghosts. Basically, when people die in the mortal realms, if they did something that Nagash considered a crime against him, he'll take their souls and remake them into forms he finds fitting, and basically he damns them to eternal punishment. And their form is based on their punishment. Like, these guys are people who were just like useless I don't remember what their crime is, but they're basically people who died in bondage and as slaves, and they are eternally bound to always wear chains and just continue being slaves because Nagash is a dick. But I just love that. I love how much of a jerk he is. It brings me joy. Where is Mechanicus? I know I have it. It's black. There it is. Gelt is a Stormcast too. Oh yeah, I forget what Gelt's name is. Gelt has a special. Yeah, there's a lot of Stormcast Eternals who are basically character. Whenever Games Workshop doesn't want to try hard for what happened to somebody from the old world, they make them into a Stormcast most of the time. As long as they were like vaguely human. Nightcrow, we can only hope, man. We can only hope. Alright. This will be the last thing we do for tonight, is paint these tombstones and boulders, which I'm going to actually go up to a bigger brush. So we'll clean this one off, because I'm done with this for tonight. Where is the cap? There it is. Balthus Aram? Yeah, that sounds right. Yeah, and there's a lot of rumors that Karl Franz is there's a lot of rumors that Karl Franz is the special character, the Celestial Prime. Because I think he was like some great Emperor of Men or something. I think it's either Karl Franz or Volton. It's going to be one of the two. But I think they specifically call him a Lord of Men, which makes Franz seem more likely. Oh yeah, I forgot that. Yeah, they did go ham with Gelt naming his mount. You know, I'm gonna take the rocks first because that came out a little watery. Oh yeah, that's too much. Too much. No, he doesn't have a Pegasus. He has the giant ram thing. They're like draconian rams. They're pretty cool looking, actually. He has a close thing to a Pegasus. I'll put it that way. Just the tiniest little. Okay, that's better. It's gonna be the first unit I've painted in like what feels like 1,000 years. Motherfucker. Okay, I need to put like a red dot on this guy's base to warn me that he's the broken model. So I keep picking him up and then I hit his arm and then he breaks again and it's just like never ending. This guy's got a lot of rock action going on. I'm going to put a big red dot on him, though. You hope Karl Franz is a Celestic Prime? Yeah, that would be kind of a cool role for him. I hope one day he takes his helmet off and we actually get to, like, know what his deal is. Like, if he has, like, a free mind or if Sigmar's just, like, turned him into a... like, an avatar, but without any, like, soul, you know? I'd be really interested to actually see that play out. Ooh, too much. It's okay. There we go. There we go. Perfect. Why am I holding it like this? I should be putting it in this thing, because then it's a lot easier to hold. I don't have to accidentally grab it by the broken arm and break it again. Which I'm very fond of doing, apparently. Hey, Chloe. What are you doing? Oh, yeah? You tell me about it, big girl. Hey, Salem. Ethan, appreciate the kind words, man. Thank you. I'm glad to share those stories. It brings me a lot of joy. I'm glad people enjoy them. Just the littlest dab. You know what? Let me do this. There we go. Jesus, butterfingers. That's fine. I wanted to give myself a heart attack anyway. There we go. That looks good. Yeah. Okay, and I'm going to put a big fucking red blot on that dude in a second. So I can note that this guy likes to piss me off by having a stupid broken arm. Take care of this tombstone real quick though, while I still got the paint on my brush. Chloe, what are you doing? Alright, just a big fucking... Where's that asshole? There he is. There. Nice big red dot warning me. Careful with this model, he likes to break. Do I have the 10-in-1 model? I do. I actually have two different ones. Well, no, not two. I have two. That's what I'm trying to say. I have one that's painted and old as shit. Because I got it when I was little. Hey, come here. Chloe. Oops. Come here. What are you doing? I'm almost done. I promise. I'm going to bed real soon. And I've got one more 10-in-1 model who is still in his blister pack. So he has not been opened. And that one I ordered fairly recently. I ordered him during the event Games Workshop was doing for him. Where you could special get his model. Because they were like, he's going away forever. And I was like, whoa. And I want to have that one professionally painted, hopefully. Well, too late. Just a few more. My dog has just about had it with me. I don't know how I got that big old smear of gray on there, but whatever. Don't care. You okay, Chloe? She's gonna be so happy when we go to bed. Okay. Only one more tombstone left, so that's good. Still a little heavy. There we go. Don't want to lose all those sweet, sweet details. Hey, Zinch, how you doing, man? All right, Gerard, have a good night, man. Tomorrow's Wednesday. It is very hard to think about talking and doing this at the same time. For the record, like when you're just thinking and you're getting into a groove, it's like getting some good bits on there. Oh no. No. He says as he colossally fucks up right then. That's okay. Definitely using too big of a brush for this, I think. That's why I keep fucking up. It's like, it's not a big deal to use it on the parts that are big, but I keep trying to use it for detail work, and that's not what this brush is for. And then I mess up, and I'm like, oh, woe was me, I messed up, even though I'm using the wrong brush, so it shouldn't be that surprised or anything. Lore Master Sotek, I'm thinking of starting a Slaves to Chaos army. Any suggestion for starting units? Nope, I do not know jack shit about playing Slaves to Chaos, or Slaves to Darkness. Slaves to Darkness are totally out of my, The only thing I would say is probably keep an eye on the rumor mill, because I think Slaves to Darkness are getting a new book to go along with all, like, the Darkoath crap that we've been getting, which are, like, the new Norskins. So you might keep an eye out for that, because they might reveal a new army who you may like more. I don't think they're going to be heavily armored, so if you want like heavily armored warriors, then you're probably good to go. I think they're going to be like Norska, so a bunch of mostly naked tribal crazy people. If that's not your jam, then I think you're good to start collecting. Okay, I'll use a detail brush to finish off that. Alright, Changer Voice, have a good night. Yeah, Slaves to Darkness, Mogwai, they're Warriors of Chaos, essentially. Slaves to Darkness is literally like mortal followers of the Dark Gods, but not like specific to a specific god. So like you could play Maggot Ken of Nurgle and take all of his like unique troop types that are only available to him, but you could also take Slaves to Darkness who are like Chaos Warriors and Chaos Knights, and basically anything that was Warriors of Chaos in fantasy is probably a Slave to Darkness in Age of Sigmar. That's kind of like their new keyword. It just means Mortal of Chaos. That's all it means. Oh, whoops. That is... Wait, is that supposed to be part of his spookiness? I don't think so. There you go. Okay, yeah, now. Okay, this is too thick. There we go. Oh, easy, Chloe. Okay. Get out the detail brush, finish off these boulders. We're good to go. Chaos Warriors are solid. Well, yeah, I don't think Slaves to Darkness are getting a battle tome. That seems very unlikely. I think the quote unquote new faction coming out is their replacement. Not legit replacement, but like the new Mortals of Chaos, but they have a really different theme from the looks of it. They're like all tribal and mostly naked people who like don't wear heavy armor, which I think most people who, when they're like, I want to collect Warriors of Chaos, they're like, they want like the heavy death metal Vikings. You know, most of them aren't thinking like Chaos Marauders, they're thinking Chaos Warriors, which are very different concepts. And I don't think the Chaos Warriors are getting a book. I think the closest thing you can get to old-fashioned Chaos Warriors is an Ever-Chosen army, because the Varangard are basically Chaos Knights on cocaine. Okay, that guy's done. Last model. Get some more shit on there. Oops. I don't know how many times I've said oops to stream, and I don't want to know. Okay. All right. Alright, chat. Well, I think that's gonna just about do me for today. Why can I not get that in one spot? It's bothering me. Excuse me. One second, chat. There's one little spot that like refuses to get painted in. It's just like a little bit of white staring me in the face, and it's bothering me. There we go. There we go. Good, good. All right. All right, so that's all we have left to do for these guys. Because that's it for tonight. That is it for the evening. But all I've got left to do is let me consult my painting guide here. Of course, it landed as like far away as it possibly could for me. Just as a fuck you. There we go. As you can see here, so for the stone, all we've got left is Nuln Oil shading, and then 2 really easy layers. For the weapons, we have 3 full layers to go, which is going to be Nightmarish, and then we've got Nuln Oil also for the wood, and some more layers there. Alright, guys. Come here. Come here. Come here. It is time for me to go to bed. I don't know if y'all can hear the dog making noise. She is ready for sleep. So thanks again, all you guys, for watching. I will be back, hopefully on the regular with paint streams. I might not always stream when I paint, but I will try and always get something up every once in a while just for this aspect of the hobby. Hopefully I can record some footage tomorrow of me playing Age of Sigmar, but we'll see what happens. Drew, you have a great day, I'm assuming, from New Zealand. I don't know what time it is in New Zealand. I want to go to New Zealand so bad. So bad. Anyway, thank you all for watching, and I will